The invited guests, families of the war veterans, and other dignitaries arrived at Ella Beach as early as 6 o'clock in the morning. Among them was also the parade team from PNG Defence Force, St. John's Ambulance Correctional Services, and the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary Band. According to reports, in February 3, 1942, the Japanese first bombed Port Moresby. In May 1943, the Japanese Navy tried to invade Port Moresby by sea. The Australians and Americans fought back with the Japanese from invading in the Battle of the Coral Sea. After the failed attempt, they then tried to take the overland through Kokoda Track. Australian operation on Kokoda Track began on the 7th of July 1942. The conflict along Kokoda Track was serious that many lives were lost. The Japanese force regarded Port Moresby as an important location to launch aerial attack on the northern part of Australia. The Australian and Papuans fought the Japanese to prevent them from capturing Port Moresby. Lieutenant Powesiu Kisokau said this day is to commemorate those that fall while protecting PNG's territory, mostly the Papuan Infantry Battalions, now the PNG Defence Force.
On this day, above all days, we remember all those who served in times of war. We remember with pride their courage, their compassion, their comradeship. We remember what they accomplished for Papua New Guinea and indeed for the freedom of mankind. We honor those who died or disabled in the tragedy of war. They adorn our nation's history. We remember those who fell amidst the rugged valleys, ridges, jungles, seas and skies of Papua New Guinea, especially during the Bougainville campaign.
He said the Australians realized the importance of the Papuan Battalion.
The Papuan Infantry Battalion was formed as a unit of the Australian Army in the territory of Papua for services during World War II. It was part of the 8th Military District. It started off with 63 recruits, most of them coming from the Begarakas police force that he established 100 years before that.
Guest of honor for the event, Governor General Sir Bob Dadai shared the same sentiments.
Who fell in battle and those who stood in defense of our land and its people. Today, we pay our respects to those whose lives were affected by the war. The ordinary people from our villages who took part in battle, who carried the wounded, who carried supplies, and those who acted as lookouts.
He said the contributions made by our people were valuable in the war.
The contributions made by our people were so valuable in supporting those on the front lines. Those better knew of the terrain and the best routes than our people, who was physically able to traverse the mountains, the rivers, and jungles of this land while carrying a heavy load. Let us remember their loyalty, courage, and devotion.
Sir Bob said these veterans served their superiors with pride.
In their own time, many of them died without telling us their names, or where they came from, or where their family are, and what their dreams were. Their world was nothing more than the orders they received from their superiors. Their comrades were all they had.
He said their action to obey their superiors and being selfless was at the highest level, and that is the reason why we are here today. The 43rd Remembrance Day concluded with laying of wreaths by the invited guests and dignitaries. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.